Boatworks Today is a viewer-supported show. To learn more on how you can get involved and watch extended ad-free versions of these videos, please visit our website, BoatworksToday.com, and click on the top of the heading where it says Support This Show. Thank you. So welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all having a great weekend. So this week, we've got a few things going on. We've got to get our panels prepped for the Alexseal paint. We also got to do some demo. I mean, who doesn't love demolition day, right? And lastly, to round things up, I have a question for you. So let's get started. So before we can do anything with these panels, we need to make sure that they are clean and completely free of all contaminants. And to be doing that, I'm going to be using the Total Boat, the Deep Waxer, and Surface Prep. Now the panel on the right is the one that we made, not too long ago, but the one on the left, that is one that I actually made quite a few years ago, and this thing has seen almost every type of material and compound known in the boating industry. So, to make sure that I'm going to be starting off with a clean slate on both of these panels, I'm going to be applying what's called, well, at least what I'm going to be referring to as a tie coat. And my reason for doing this is that panel on the left has basically seen everything from different compounds and waxes and gel coats and paints and, I mean, really, you name it. And I want to make sure that there isn't going to be any kind of interference from, from different layers of material that are already on there. So I'm going to be going over this with essentially a two-part epoxy coating, and for that I'm going to be using the Total Protect made by Total Boat. Now, in most instances, this is somewhat of an optional step, but here again the reason I'm doing it is because I want to make sure I'm not going to have any issues with some of the previous coatings that are on that older panel. Now, technically, this Total Protect could be used as the prime coat for the Alexseal paint. But when we get to that part of the demonstration, I prefer to try and keep every step of the process under the same umbrella, and in this case it's under the Alexseal. So I want to be able to start with their primer and end with their paints. So as I mentioned, this tie coat, well, essentially this is my insurance policy. In total, I'm going to be applying 2 coats about an hour, hour and a half apart. Basically, whenever you can stick your thumb on there and it doesn't come off on your finger, well, then you're ready to go. If you wait more than 48 hours, then I believe you have to sand it. But as long as it's skinned over, you're free to come back over it with coat number 2. So after both coats are down, I like to actually let this material set up for a few days. I mean, anything that's epoxy based can actually take upwards of a week to cure. And well, so at this point I've got a couple options. I can either sit here and watch paint dry, or I can switch gears and do something that'd be a lot more fun. Demolition. That actually went really smooth. A lot better than what I was anticipating, that's for sure. I'm just really glad that on the underside of here, this was not put in with any kind of a resin or epoxy or anything. It was still glassed in, but that's easy enough to cut away. Now the reason I'm pulling these bulkheads out is, I'm pretty sure that these are still original because of the way that they were tabbed in. It doesn't look like it's ever been screwed with. And that kind of thing, and based on how scuzzy everything was, down in the cracks there, I'm pretty sure that these were the original bulkheads. But I do kind of question if they're actually the the right thickness that was supposed to be put in here. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, now I don't know if the camera is going to really be able to pick this up, but the thickness of these bulkheads is about 5/8 of an inch thick. And when I'm looking at this here, this bulkhead is kind of angled in, you know, so it's not sitting, you know, or parallel or plumb. And the reason I think that is because I think this is undersized. Now, just kind of work with my logic here. If this bulkhead were actually 3/4 inch thick, so then that would do a couple of things, you know, because right now on the bottom of the bulkhead, or on the bottom here, this bulkhead is actually kind of screwed or bolted into this structure right here. And then up on the top here, it's on the back side of this, you know, of the deck here. Now, if this were thicker, that would take the bottom, that would take this bottom, push it out a little bit, and it would take the top and push that back. That would help to bring to make this bulkhead more, you know, or more plumb, I guess. And I don't really see any harm in going thicker. It's just going to add more stiffness and more strength to it. So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing here. Now, as far as what I'm going to be using to replace this with, take a guess. I'm kind of curious to see what everybody's guesses are going to be here. I'm pretty well decided on what it is I'm going to be using, but I'd like to hear everybody's guess. So let me know down in the comments. I'll give you a little hint. It starts with a... So, here is my question for you guys. And honestly, I feel like this is something that I should already know, because I've worked on Bertrams before, but I never really paid attention to this part of the detail. So I know there's quite a few people out here that watch this that also have Bertrams and, you know, have other experience working on boats as well. So one of the beautiful things of the community like this is you can kind of bounce ideas off of everybody else. All right, so here's kind of what I'm up against here, or I guess what I'm scratching my head over. Now, I need to create some kind of like support knees along the sides of the hull here, just to help give some rigidity to that upper part of the deck there. Now, the knees typically look something like this. So once these knees are in place, you know, I still want to have some kind of a covering coming down here just to kind of close all this off and, you know, try and get some built-in storage in this area. Now, what I don't remember how it was done originally by Bertram, and I don't have to do it original, but just kind of looking for like a starting point as far as how they figured out how to do this. But so I've got my little, again, this is just a whatever. It's the easiest thing I could find to help give me some visualization here. So anyways, So I'm guessing I'm going to want to have the cover on here. It's going to be basically tabbed to the back side of this, and then come down, and at some point it's going to have to either terminate down onto the sole, or maybe into the side here. I guess I'm not quite sure. I never really mapped this out up until today, but what I was originally thinking I would do is, I kind of have it terminate, right along, kind of right on where it kind of radiuses down right in through here. But by doing that, that puts kind of a stupid angle, on this. So I mean, it really needs to come straight down or almost straight down. So this part, initial idea, bad. So now if we're looking at actually running this all the way down from top to bottom, which I think would look okay, but it puts the termination, kind of like right in here. I mean, this is where the non-skid is going to end, obviously. I mean, I can modify this somewhat, but it's pretty close. And with this, if these coverings are coming straight down, it's going to leave about like an inch or so reveal right in through here. I'm not quite sure how if I'm going to like the way that it looks coming straight down and covering all this up. So I would like to hear some ideas from you guys. Again, if you have a Bertram or a boat that's styled similar to this, love to hear how they did it. I mean, if they did it just kind of how I was just talking about, where they come straight down and right down onto the sole. One idea I had a little bit ago was rather than having this piece come all the way down, have it come down to about, right to about like this height here, and then have it jaunt back in. I mean, it would still come out as far as it would if it were come straight down, but it would create a little bit of a shelf in there. Then along the bottom, if I wanted to, I could put in some like LED perimeter lighting, going all the way around the boat. That might look kind of cool. Actually, I know that look really cool. But now right now I'm getting to the part of the project where I kind of need to think of quite a few more steps ahead as far as how things are going to get situated, because I got to make sure that wherever I put a knee in, I want that also to be an anchor point for any benches or seats or anything else that are going to be bolted onto the sides here. So I've got a little bit of homework to do now. But again, first things first, I want to try and come up with a knee design that will actually work. I mean, because this one, it doesn't come out far enough, so I need to create one that's larger that actually matches the profile of the hull coming down. So with that said, I would love to hear your thoughts on how you think that I should finish off the sides. And even better yet, if you actually have a Bertram, if you could snap some pictures and just kind of send them out or email them to me, that would be awesome. I'll include my email address down below. And again, if you have any thoughts or opinions on this, please leave those down below in the comments. And as always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you on board. And as always, thank you for your time, and thanks for watching.
This has been a Boatworks Today production.